Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome back to another Black Canvas Grappling episode. Now this is episode 18, and it's pretty crazy to think that we're actually this far in the series. And if you do want to play TEW 2020, you can find a link to go and purchase the game in the description down below. There'll also be a link there for my Twitch. I have been live streaming TCW for about the last week and a half to 2 weeks, and I have to say it's probably the most fun that I've had since the Road to Glory back on 2016. So make sure you head over to the Twitch channel, give it a follow. Anyway, today's episode, we have the final group stage matches, as you can tell by the title. And we're going to essentially just get straight into that. Now, as far as this series goes, obviously I love BCG. Probably, like I said, my favorite company to book. But I'm feeling like the progress is very slow. And what I mean by that is, obviously, we still have a lot of work to do in regards to building up finances and then also building up our workers. Now, the way that the popularity works in 2020, it's a little bit different. Anyway, we've got a wrestler's court here and a positive impact for that guy. And then we also have Furusawa taking Shuga Amano under his wing as a protege. So that's awesome. Really happy about that. I'll do some meddling in the background here. But what I'm trying to say is, I want to try and speed up some progress. We want to try and get to medium as soon as possible. And then we also want to try and build up our finances as high as possible. You know, in the short term, we want as much money. And I think the process that we're going to take will be for us to buy our own broadcaster. Now, the thing that I was thinking was, do we go for a pay-per-view broadcaster? Because obviously we don't currently have one of those. Or do we go for something else? And what I mean by something else is, do we go for another region that is probably a little bit cheaper? I'm thinking Oceania, as that's, I think, one of the cheaper ones we could get. We could obviously get, I think India is the cheapest, but I'm not sure if India is going to be too beneficial, because I really haven't, experimented with that. So what I'm trying to say is, do you guys think it is a good idea for us to, I think we only need about 750,000 to start our own small size broadcaster? Should we go for a small pay-per-view broadcaster in Japan with Japanese coverage, or should we go for a small, I was thinking commercial broadcaster in Oceania, which will obviously give us some more finances, but that opens more doors down the line. And what I mean by that is, obviously, once our popularity does go up, we will be eligible to actually get proper broadcasting deals in Oceania, and eventually that could lead to us getting onto a pay-per-view provider in that region. Anyway, let's get booking. So our first match is going to be Suki taking on Yoshinaka Taku. So we'll get that one booked in as well. That should be a pretty good match. And we're actually going to... You might be surprised by this, but yeah, Yoshinaka Taku is going to, I think, pick up his first points, if I'm not mistaken, of the tournament. So I guess in a way it's good for him. Obviously not very good for Suki. I think we'll also make this our technical masterclass, as both these guys have really good technical ability, especially Suki, as we've come to know. Now the next match we're going to be doing is Blaster Coma taking on Kamisaka. Kind of a bit of a dead rubber match. Obviously, Kamisaka hasn't picked up any points, and unfortunately for him, he's still not going to pick up any tonight. So, yeah, big old blast. Like I said, I threw Kamisaka in there because he really had impressed me, and I still really like him as a wrestler on our roster. Obviously, he's part of a tag team, essentially, with Kiyotaka, of course. But I do like him, and I think maybe down the line he might have a singles push, perhaps for the Challenger Series title. We'll just have to wait and see how things play out. Anyway, our main event for tonight, we are going to stick with our boy, where is he? Finnick. There he is. And he's going to be taking on Big Bruiser Finlay. Now, this is, I would say it's a pretty important match for the outcome of the group. But the way it's going to play out obviously means that it's not going to be too important at the same time. Again, it's going to be fairly straightforward with the most important person getting the victory. And obviously, you know, going into the next round, into the semi-finals, which will be next episode. I'm really looking forward to that as well. I think we'll have some pretty tasty matchups. Anyway, the final match is going to be Malloy taking on Raisa Nakamoto. Obviously, Raisa Nakamoto in the last 2 episodes, I think, really hasn't been all that impressive, and it's making me a little bit sad because on the entire roster, he probably is my favorite. If I show you him here, it's just something about him. It's just, you know, it's his star quality. Obviously, he's really good selling there as well. I just don't know why he's not doing as well as I thought he would be. It might have something to do with the injury, but at the same time, he's up to 63 popularity. So I'm kind of thinking that, you know, he should be doing a lot better than he currently is. And unfortunately for our boy Malloy, one half of the American Cobras, he's going to go through in pretty emphatic form, I think. I think he's undefeated in the group, if I'm not mistaken. And that trend is going to continue. At least from the groups. We'll have to wait and see what happens in regards to the semi-finals. So there is our final matches booked in for Group A. What have we got to do? I think we have to do a Steal the Show match. Okay, so we'll just add our usual sort of tag team match. Let's have Ipitsutsai and Okamasa take on Mitsukiri and Kinoshita. Just for 12 minutes, and we'll have... Obviously, I think we have to have Okamasa get the victory. He still does have morale issues, which I'm kind of a bit worried about. A lot of people in our roster still have these issues. And some of them are main players like Okamoto and Finlay. So I am a little bit worried about that. Anyway, it's got to be the Steal the Show match, as you'd expect. And then we'll chuck that one into the middle to break up the 2 sets of matches. And let's do some angles. So Funikoshi can do... He can do entertainment. So I think we'll do entertainment for him. And obviously, he's pretty much going to put over the fact that he is the current world champion. And he's also going to win... I think that's, yeah, Yoshifusa Maeda. He's also going to win the Grand Prix. Essentially just to prove his dominance over the rest of BCG. And I guess to start the show, we will once again go with Yoshifusa Maeda. And let's have Funikoshi, Big Bruiser Finlay, Raisa Nakamoto, Malloy. We'll then go with Blaster Coma. Suki, if I can find his name, there he is, and finally Yoshinaka Taku. Alright, so I think I will actually script Maeda, because I think he did pretty poorly last time, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's, we're over time, but we can reduce a few things here, and we'll get things sorted out a little bit. So we can actually reduce this one by 2. I guess we can just reduce this by 2 as well. And finally, yeah, Blast and Kamisaka don't really need to be going for 20 minutes. So yeah, there's the show, the main show anyway. Let's do a couple of pre-show matches. Let's have Animal Haka and Wild Red Stallion. And they can take on Sotomura and Ozawa on our pre-show. Let's give Sotomura the victory. Kinda wanted to go with the other guys, but I think it's fine. So there's one pre-show, and then I think we'll do another tag match as well on the pre-show. Let's have fan favorite James Diaz And he can team up with Rockimon Matsushita to take on Dreadnought and... do I want to do Dreadnought? Yeah, I guess so. Dreadnought and Yokikawa. Yeah, that should be fine. So that'll be our other pre-show match. And let's give the victory to Rockimon Matsushita. Alright, nice. Yeah, that should be fine. Alright, so let's run the show. First tour show of the episode. We start off with a 42, where we have Sotomura and Ozawa defeating the Wild Animals in 12-10, when Roku Sotomura submitted Wild Red Stallion with a twisted bow and arrow. That's not a bad pre-show match. I mean, Ozawa, we probably need to get rid of him, I think. Super old and just not very good. And our second pre-show match getting us a 49 where we have James Diaz and Rockimon Matsushita defeating Dreadnought and Nobuharu Yokikawa in just over 12 minutes when Rockimon Matsushita pinned Dreadnought with a one-handed chokeslam, and as you'd expect, Rockimon was the standout in the match. Alright, so we then start the show off with a 74 rating for our opening angle with Yoshifusa Maeda introducing the final group matches of Group A. And, he goes over, talks about the main event, talks about Raisa and the fact that he's still undefeated and taking on Marvin Malloy. And I have to say, a 74 I think is pretty good. You know, he did kind of bomb, I think it was on Group B, the Group B tour show last time. And I think he got like a 60 or a 62 or something like that. So that's a lot better. Obviously, scripting him is probably the way to go, even though he is really good with his entertainment stats. Alright, so our first match on the card, our Technical Masterclass, getting us a 65 rating, where we have Yoshinaka Taku defeating Suki in just over 20 minutes by pinfall with a full Nelson bomb. And of course, we got Yoshinaka Taku picking up his first points of the tournament coming in the last round. Obviously, pretty disappointing for Suki. He was, getting fairly close along with Big Bruiser Finlay to the runner-up spot. I would say, even though I don't think it was mathematically possible. Suki's going to be pretty upset about this one, I think. We then go into a 63 rated match where we have Blaster Coma defeating Kanonamaru Kamasaka in 18-16 by pinfall with a Northern Lights bomb. I mean, it's a pretty good match, actually, from both these guys. 59 for Blast and a 55 there for Kamasaka. I think that's okay. They're probably the least too impressive in the group. And I would say Raizan's probably just behind them. We then go into our Steal the Show match, getting a 45, where we have Ipitsutsai and Okamasa defeating Mitsukuri and Kinoshita in just over 10 minutes, when Shiruku Okamasa pinned Ichiro Mitsukuri with a Scorpion Deathlock, and Okamasa carried the match. And we also had Kinoshita being really off his game, so obviously hurt the rating a little bit, but Steal the Show matches do mean that the wrestlers have to go all out, and sometimes going all out for younger guys when they don't have enough experience can really backfire, and they do tend to be off their game. So I guess that's kind of to be expected. Moving into a 70 rated match, so that's pretty good. We have Raisa Nakamoto defeating Marvin Malloy in just over 20 minutes by pinfall with a Brain Buster suplex. That's a good match. Really interesting that Marvin Malloy actually outperformed Okamoto in this match by 1 point in the ring. I find that very strange. Very strange. Anyway, Okamoto, I think he's up to 14 points now. And of course, he's in first place for Group A. And then our main event, it doesn't do too well either. I'm thinking... My thought process on this is the game possibly might have been nerfed a little bit in regards to what was happening, because we were getting 80s just before, and now the segments have gone down quite a bit. So I'm assuming they might have, with the 1.08 update, or 1.07 perhaps even before then, they might have slightly tweaked things and just made them a bit more balanced, hence the lower ratings than we were getting earlier in the tournament. Anyway, for the main event, we do have Finnick defeating Big Bruiser Finlay in 20 minutes and 2 seconds by pinfall with a butterfly backbreaker. It's still a really good match, don't get me wrong. But I think Finnick especially, his in-ring performance is definitely lower than it was a few episodes ago. So he's only got a 67, and then Finlay getting a 57 in this match. And then finally, Finnick getting a 54, where he declares that he is going to essentially do the double. He's going to be the world champion, and also he's going to win the Yoshifusa Maeda Grand Prix at the same time as holding the belt. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. 54 is pretty good. Now, I will have the updated groups at the end of the episode, or towards the end, once we finish Group B, so you'll be able to see the final points tally. And then I'll also show you another screen where we have our 2 semi-finals. And that'll be another graphic there for you guys to see exactly who's going to be versing who. Obviously, you'll be able to work it out yourselves, but I just want to put a nice little graphic in there just to show you exactly what's going on. Anyway, we have a 69 overall rating for this TV show, for this tour show, sorry. Very good stuff. I think a 69 is really good. It's not going to increase our popularity, though, in one region, in Kansai, of course, which is frustrating because it seems like a good enough show to actually do that. And our popularity in Kansai is only like a 55. So that's literally like 14 points above, and we still don't get the increase. I feel like that's a bit harsh and a little bit strange. Anyway, let's have a look. We got a pay rise request here from Suki, and he wants 420. I think we'll just give him his 75% increase. It's pretty much the bare minimum you can do. Anyway, so let's get into Group B's tour show now. We've got a decent main event here tonight, which is going to be, well, I'll show you in a second once we start booking. It's not going to be Furusawa. Furusawa, if you've been keeping track, is going to be versing Naozen Goto tonight. So that's a little bit frustrating because obviously I would have liked Furusawa to be in the main event. But I just don't think, as good as he is, that he can carry Goto to a 70 plus. Okay. Once again, let's do some more meddling. Let's go with Yuta Sono and I guess our boy James Diaz. Still no effect. Okay. It's frustrating, but at the same time, I mean, there's really nothing we can do. So, again, we'll go another generic venue. And let's start booking. So, I guess let's book that Goto. Where is he? There he is. Naozen Goto taking on Furusawa. It should be a good match. Obviously, it's only going to be 10 minutes, but I think Furusawa can carry him to at least a 60. That'd be my prediction anyway. Or at least I hope that's what he would do. I mean, it might be a bit of a tough ask. Anyway, the next match we're going to do is Storm Spillane. And he's going to be taking on Tanyu Toshisai. In what is also going to be, I would say, a pretty good match. However, there's going to be a bit of an upset in this one. If we can pull it off. And as you can see, Toshisai is going to suffer a pretty bad defeat there. It's kind of going to derail his campaign and put him to bed, essentially. Our next match is going to be Giant Brody taking on Inajiro Yoshizawa. I think we'll try and go 16. I don't think we'll be able to with Brody. But yeah, he's been dominant towards the end of the tournament, and it's gonna be no different here today. And like I said, I've said it a few times, I am a big fan of Giant Brody, so you know he will be pushed pretty well in the near future. And then finally, that leaves our main event with our boys Noritoshi Miura and Bunraku Tori, and they are going to close us out of the match, or of the group stage, I should say. And as you'd expect, who else but Bunraku Tori? Really gonna put on a good show, hopefully. I'm expecting him to get like a 73 at least. Now we've got one more match to do, which is our Steal the Show match. And then I guess we'll probably do a couple of pre-show shenanigans as well. So let's go with Takanori Doi and Yoshisada Matsuzawa. And they can take on Iki Hisaka and Yurigataya? Yeah. Why not? That looks like a pretty good match. And Yurigataya can obviously get the victory in this one. We also need to make it the Steal the Show match. So there we go. That one's fine. So that'll go in the middle again. And then I think we'll do a couple of angles. Let's go with Bunraku Tori. And we might actually have him... I was going to say cut an angle onto Funikoshi, but I don't think we really need to do that. So his angle will go afterwards. What are we missing? We need Technical Masterclass, which I guess will be this match. I'm assuming that was what I kind of wanted to do. Anyway, so Yoshifusa Maeda, once again, going to be cutting his final angle. Actually, probably not his final angle of the tournament. He might do the final as well. Actually, I guess he can do the semi-finals as well, even though the semi-finals is going to be on one show in the next episode. So yeah, okay. So Bunraku Tori, Noritoshi Miura, go Giant Brody. Let's go with Inajiro Yoshizawa, Storm Spillane. Who's Storm versing? Tanyu Toshisai, that's right. And finally, we've got Mabuchi Furusawa. There we go. Obviously, can't road agent his own angle. Did I script him? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. And that will start us off. And I'm kind of looking forward to finally being done with the group stage. Obviously, the group stage in itself is pretty interesting. But obviously, the semi-finals and the final are going to be the real money makers. Alright, so the pre-show. Let's go with some more matches. Let's have Agata and Kisaka together. And I think they can take on Yokikawa and Sen. And I think we might just leave it at one pre-show match this time. I'm thinking. Okay, and we'll also take him off road agency. I might do one more. Let's do one more. I haven't really used Yuta Asono, so we'll chuck him into a match. Where is he? There he is, right at the bottom. So Yuta Asono, and I guess he can team up with maybe James Diaz? No, they actually don't like each other, do they? He can team up with Roku Sotomura. Actually, we'll go Rokumon Matsushita. And they can take on, I guess, Cloaked in Shadows would be an interesting option. So there we go. And I might actually give Yuta the victory because I did notice that he had chilly momentum. Or cold momentum, whatever it was. So we obviously want to try and get him out of there as soon as possible. Okay, there we go. Let's run the final Group B tour show. So we start off with a 47 rated pre-show match. We have Yokikawa and Sen defeating Agata and Kisaka in just under 12 minutes when Tsujuru Sen submitted Yutaka Agata with an over-the-shoulder backbreaker. Yeah, good match. Sen with a 52 in-ring performance as well, which is relatively good. We then go into our other pre-show match, which also gets a 47, and we have Yuta Osono and Rockimon Masashita beating Cloaked in Shadows in just over 12 minutes, when Yuta Osono pinned Prowler Igarashi with an Osono face melter, and once again, we've got Rockimon carrying the match in terms of in-ring performances, so yeah. Solid 56 there, and then of course, Shadow Ichimori was really off his game. Alright, so we then start the show off with a 69 rated angle from Yoshifusa Maeda, and of course, once again, this time he's introducing all the matches and competitors for our Group B final round matches. 69, it's okay. It is, 2 points lower than the other show? We then go into a 62 rated match where we have Mibuchi Furusawa defeating Naozen Goto in 10:24 by submission with a Furusawa armbar. And as you can see, it was too short in the eyes of our audience. So 62 is pretty good. I told you, I kind of thought that Furusawa might be able to carry him to a 60, but that is the reason why we decided not to make it the main event. We then go into another 62, and unfortunately I should have put this one before the last match, obviously being a technical masterclass, but it still did relatively well. And we had Storm Spillane defeating Tanyu Toshisai in 20.5 minutes by submission with a kneeling Boston Crab. And yeah, the match was poorly placed. The crowd was too rowdy for it to be good enough. And it would have actually done quite well. Both these guys getting really good in-ring performances, so it might have been like a 70, perhaps, had we put it properly placed on the card. Either way, 62's, it's fine. And of course, Toshisai, his tournament coming to a crashing end, I guess. We then go into our Steal the Show match, getting us a 47, where we have Iki Hisaka and Masashi Urigataya defeating Takanori Doi and Yoshisada Matsuzawa in just under 12 minutes, when Masashi Urigataya pinned Doi with a jumbo backdrop suplex. Yeah, 47's pretty good. And no one actually was off their game in this match, despite it being Steal the Show. So I'm relatively happy with that. We then go into our second last group stage match, where we get a 62 yet again. And this time we have Giant Brody defeating Inajiro Yoshizawa in just under 16 minutes by pinfall with a single-handed chokeslam. Yeah, pretty good match. Brody with a 54 in-ring and Yoshizawa with a 57. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And finally, our main event does exactly what I predicted it to do. A 73 for our final match in the group stage, where we have Bunraku Tori defeating Noritoshi Miura in just under 20 minutes by pinfall with a spinning forearm smash. So there we go. And of course, Bunraku Tori, I think he does finish... Does he finish runner-up? I'll have to check my my tables. But either way, he is going through to the semi-finals. And I'll show you the updated points list and, of course, our semi-final brackets, I guess. And our final angle, where Bunraku Tori essentially does a similar sort of thing to Funakoshi, where he says that it's kind of in his destiny to win the Grand Prix and to go on to the Lions Roar and win the BCG World Heavyweight title. Does pretty well, gets a 71 for our final angle. And he actually struggled going off script with this one as well, so it essentially could have been higher, which is actually pretty good to know. Alright, so we actually get the exact same overall rating for our show here. We get another 69. I know, everybody have a little laugh. 2 69s in a row. But again, still doesn't increase our popularity in Kansai, although it is increasing everywhere else, so that's good. But obviously, we need to get 59 popularity in Kansai to go up to a medium-sized company. All right, so let me just check the email here. He thinks, well, Bunraku Kantori thinks Rockimon Matsushita needs to learn how to sell, and he's not worth pushing until that's addressed. Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with that statement. Anyway, let me jump into here, and now we're going to put the final points totals on the screen. So, all right, Group A, we have... Hold on one second, let me just pull this up myself. All right, so Group A, and then I need Group B as well. All right, perfect. All right, so Group A. Group A is essentially going to be Raisa Nakamoto, and he's obviously finishing top of the group, finishing on 14 points after picking up, well, he's picked up 7 wins out of 7. So he's going to finish on 14. And then runner-up for Group A is obviously Funikoshi, who finished in 2nd, and will be our runner-up of that group to be taking on the winner of Group B. But yeah, Funikoshi finishes on 12 points. We then have Suki and Big Bruiser Finlay in behind those two, tied in 3rd place. Both losing their final round of matches, and they both finish on 8 points. Behind them, we have Marvin Malloy, who finished on 6 points. So I would say a relatively good campaign for Marvel. Picked up 3 wins. Did pretty well. Behind him, we have... where is he? Blastakoma. I was actually wrong about Yoshinaka Taku. He did actually pick up another win. So actually, Blastakoma and Yoshinaka Taku are going to finish equal on points as well. They both picked up 2 wins, and both will finish on 4 points. And then, unfortunately for Kamasaka, 0 wins out of 7, and that leaves him with a big donut down the bottom of his screen there. Okay, so let me change into Group B here. Now we have, of course, Furusawa finishing top of the group. Again, similar to Okamoto, he finished undefeated on 14 points, winning all 7 of his matches. Behind him, we have, unfortunately, I mean, it could have been Toshasai, but it is going to be Bunraku Kantori finishing runner-up. So we're going to have Furusawa taking on Funikoshi, and then we're also going to have Bunraku Kantori taking on Okamoto. So 2 pretty good semi-finals there. Anyway, the rest of the group, we had Toshasai in 3rd place on 9 points. Tori finished on 11. Then we have Toshasai on 9 points. We had Giant Brody behind them on 8 points, which like I said, pretty impressive last sort of final run. I think he was, 3 undefeated, or 3 wins in a row, if you want to say it that way. We then have Noritoshi Miura, who finished on 5 points. Behind him, we have Yoshizawa, who finished on 3 points. And then finally, we had Storm Spillane and now Zane Goto, both finishing on, I believe, 2 points. And both essentially being tied last in Group B. So yeah, okay, back to the main screen here. Now, that, of course, leaves us, like I said, with our brackets. So put the brackets up on the screen now. And as you can see, it is going to be Furusawa taking on Funikoshi in our first match, which will probably be the main event. And then our second match is, of course, going to be the winner of Group A, Raisa Nakamoto, taking on Bunraku Kantori, who was the runner-up of Group B. And there are brackets for our semi-final for next episode. I'm thinking it's going to look pretty good. It should be a really, really good tour show. It is essentially tour show number 15 before we do go into the actual Grand Prix itself down here. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. Next episode is actually going to be both of these. I'm deciding to do both of them at the same time. So the semi-finals are then going to lead straight in, and we'll get booking onto the Yoshifu Samaida Grand Prix pay-per-view. So yeah, apart from that, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Make sure you smash the like button already. make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. And as always, make sure you check out the Twitch channel as well, just before you leave. It will be a link to that in the description down below. I just actually got affiliated with Twitch now, so it's pretty cool. It means you guys can subscribe if you choose to do so. We're gonna get some nice emotes going. Probably like a BCG emote, but obviously it's gonna be a little bit more focused around TCW, at least to begin with. Anyway, that is it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, take it easy and goodbye.